Welcome to FiberChronicles. I am Bonnie. Today I am going to show you my way of winding a center pull ball of yarn that looks very much like a cake that you might wind on one of those crank winders that you can buy in many places. I'm going to do this using a hot sauce bottle. I will be winding this yarn today. So I hope you enjoy learning my way of winding a ball of yarn. So when I wind a ball of yarn by hand, the first thing I need is to open up the hank and untie wherever it happens to be tied so that I can use it. I think I'll go ahead and use that as the end. It appears to be that way. I have our air purifier right here. Since I do not have a yarn swift, I need to be able to put my yarn somewhere and so it will pull off. To make it a center pull ball, you need to be able to have your yarn end somewhere where it will not get lost while you're winding. So I stick it inside the hot sauce jar for a bit, and then I screw it on. I take the yarn that I'm winding with in my right hand. I take my left thumb to hold the yarn onto the jar. When I start winding, make sure to cross over your yarn as you wind, and you go back towards the opening of the bottle. Now you want to wind down and back up again. So there's back down twice, and then I'm going back up. So I'm just making a flat section here. Now I'll turn and go back down again and then back up, and that makes 3 times of down and back. Now this is what I do to make it turn into basically a cake of yarn. I have it here at the end of the bottle, my left hand holding onto the neck of the bottle with my index finger and thumb up where I can use them if necessary to hold yarn. I hold the yarn in my right hand however it is comfortable. I do generally have some way of tensioning it, but not too tight because you don't want your balls wound really tightly. So then I have, so it's straight across from me at the top, come down, and so on the bottom, it's when you come back around, you're closest to you when you're on the bottom. So I wind up, and so that it meets the top farthest away from me on the right of the ball, and then I wind again there, always going bottom closest to me, top away from me, and I turn slightly the bottle slightly with each wrap, and so that each wrap goes next to each other as you're moving rather than on top of each other. So it's always using the same basic motion as I go around, so then I can keep winding and going as fast as I can and still keeping it in that general position. And as you see, when you get all the way around and keep going, then you get that crosshatch look with the yarn. And if you want to take more time to get it nice and perfect, then you can. I do sometimes, depending on what I'm doing it for, but I've gotten so I'm not always perfect anymore, but they work quite well and they look very pretty. My favorite place to keep the yarn while I'm winding from a hank is on the visor of the car. It's just the right size. I can set it up there. Gravity helps in assisting it to come down, but not too much. I finished winding the ball. When you look at it from this end, it looks very neat. This is a fairly small hank of yarn. I don't know exactly how much it weighs. To get the ball off, you just unscrew the cap, pull the yarn out of the jar. I like to put the cap on right away so I don't lose it. And then you can slide the ball right off. Has a nice big hole. I like to kind of squish it in. When you squish it in, that takes a lot of tension off the ball. So you can see it will pull out this way quite nicely. The bottom looks nice. It just makes a really nice ball of yarn. If you don't want a center pull, that can be inside, and you can pull from the outside. It will unwrap just as well. So that is how I make a hand wound ball of yarn. When it's a larger hank, it ends up looking more like a cake. Thank you for joining me. See you next time. Bye.